let's take a look at Google Drive. Over here on the left side of the screen is a red button for creating new documents or files. And if you click on that, you can create a new folder. You also can upload a file from another source. So if, for example, at Wanakee we have our H drive, if you wanted to upload a file or a folder from your H drive or somewhere on your desktop or from a USB drive, you could do that and put it into your Google Drive from this way. You also then can create a new Google Doc, which is similar to a Word document, a Google Sheet, which would be similar to an Excel spreadsheet, a slide, which is similar to a PowerPoint presentation. And then under More, we've got Forms, which you can use to create surveys or quizzes, to gather data. You can have Google Drawings, and then you have lots of other things. Some of these you may have added as apps. Some of these you may not. It's all about what you add into the program. So this is all, and you'll notice in Google, whenever you are in a current folder or area, it will turn red. So we're currently in My Drive. If I want to go to Incoming, incoming are going to be the files and documents that have been shared with you. So if someone shares a Google Doc with you, it's not going to show up in My Drive because you are not the owner. The only thing that will ever show up in the My Drive account would be files or folders that you have created. So if we go to Incoming, I can see a list of things that have been shared with me. So I have a file that has been shared with me from Jan, and you're going to get used to these little icons that's going to tell you what the file type is. So this is a document, this is a slide, this is a spreadsheet. You will have, eventually here we might find a form. If you see something that looks like this is an entire folder. Okay. As we scroll down, you'll see the W. That means it's a Word document. And so you can share not only Google files, but you can share other file types as well. And these are all folders or files that are owned by someone else and have been shared with me. One of the important things to remember from the incoming area, because these are all files or folders that have been shared with me and I am not the owner, if I delete them right now, I am just deleting the copy that's shared with me. The person who owns them still would have access to their original files. One of the key aspects to sharing files or folders is that once an item is shared with you, if the other party who owns the document or the file deletes it, you will no longer have access to it. So, for example, if we look at the top thing, Jan Imhoff shared with me her 2014-15 Infinite Campus Training document. If she were to delete this out of her drive, that also deletes the sharing rights that I have to that. So if you want something that's shared with you to make sure that it stays permanently in your folder, what you need to do is actually make a copy of it. So what you would do then over here, if you look, you have the ability to download, to add to My Drive, or there's more actions to open it with another program, add a star, or here you can make a copy of it. So if there's something in your incoming area that you want to make sure that you have access to later, please be sure that you save it to yourself. Next, in your left-hand navigation bar, you have a link to Recent, and this is anything that you've been working on recently. So if you really quickly want to find something that you know that you've had access to, you were modifying it or creating it in the last few days, this is a really quick way to go in and just find that, especially if you have a lot of files. Then you have starred, and you have the ability when you have a file to put a star next to it, and this puts it then into this priority folder for easy access later. And so you can see that I have some things in my starred folder because simply I wanted to save these things and make sure that I didn't delete them and give myself a key that, hey, this is something worth saving. And then I also have easy access to it later if I want to use it for demonstration purposes. So this would be somewhere where maybe you would want to save templates or things that you want to make sure that you have really quick, easy access to. And then last you have trash. And anything that you've deleted will be put into the trash. And you can see for last modified, there's things that have been here for quite a while. I obviously have not emptied my trash in a while. Unlike Gmail, your trash in your drive does not automatically delete until you actually highlight it and delete it. And if you are at the point where you're ready to delete your trash, you just come up here under trash, there's a drop down arrow. I can click empty trash and it will say, are you sure that you want to delete all files and folders in your trash? And this is permanent. You cannot undo this. So please be sure that you are not deleting anything that you might want to have access to later. Other features in Drive are up here over in your top right corner. I like the look of a list where I can just see things listed. It's alphabetical. It tells me who the owner is. It tells me when it was last modified. If you are more of a visual and you want to have icons, you can change it to the other view. To me, this is a little bit harder for me, but again, these are all of your folders. And when you click on one of the folders, then you're going to see snapshots of each document, which is actually kind of a cool feature. When you're scrolling through, it actually gives you a little visual of each document within that folder. Last, you have the option of sorting by last modified, last edited, last opened, or by default it will sort by alphabetically by name. You can view the details of specific things. So for example, I can click on a document or a folder. I can click on details, and in this case there was no activity. Under details it tells me that it's a Word document. It tells me the size, the location, who owned it, the last time it was modified or created. I can go to another document, kind of do the same thing. Here I have some activity on it. I moved it from one folder to another. So if you're looking to find out where maybe you had something saved and to where you have it saved now, this is where you would see that information. Last, over here on the far right then is your settings wheel, the gear wheel, and you can go ahead and go into settings, and there's some different various things in here that you can go through, how to convert uploads, what language do you want to work offline, in managing your application. So any apps that you have loaded into your Chrome, if they show up here, you can see they're going to be listed there, and you have some ability to modify them, disconnect them from Drive. You will notice that once you click on an individual file that it opens up a toolbar that wasn't there previously. So again, I'm going to go back to my Drive, and the only thing that I have available here is how I view and sort and some information in my settings wheel. However, once I open up a file folder, you can see that there's little pictures up here on some of them. This is because this is a shared folder in my Drive. So it shows me a little icon picture of all the people who are part of my shared folder. So it's a good way to keep track of that. In addition, I can click on a file just once without opening it, and you can see that I can show the link, because remember, everything in your Google Drive is cloud-based, which means it is online. And so there is a link, a URL link to every single file that you have created or added into your Google Drive. And so you can share those with people in order to give them access. So if you want to show that link, then you just click on this button. You can also share from this screen. So if I know that I want to share this with one of you, I can click share, and it's going to open up my share box, and I already have people listed in here, but I can also add other people. And the cool thing about our Google Drive that is monitored by our WannaKey system is that it will pre-populate anybody that I add. So if I want to add Brian Kirsten, as soon as I start typing his name, he'll populate and I can choose him. The other nice thing is you can notice once I add people, I can change what rights they have. Maybe I want people to see my information, my files, but I don't want them to be able to edit it. So in that case, I can change it to just can view. So this is where you want to be very careful when you're sharing things with other people. Do you want to give them the ability to edit your document? Do you want to give them the ability just to be able to comment on your document, or just look at it? Now, you also can transfer ownership. So if, let's say I'm working on something and I no longer want to be responsible for it and I want to delete it out of my drive, but I know that someone else on my team is going to need it, I can transfer ownership to another person. Also up here is the little eye. You can preview it. So if I click on this, it doesn't actually open the file. It just opens up into the preview mode where I can scroll through and look at it. And when I'm ready to close it, I need to make sure I come up here to the close button. I also have the options to pop it out to the actual document, zoom in or out. I can download it, I can print it, or I can open it as a Google Doc so that I can make editing changes. Because from right here, I cannot edit the document. This is a preview only. So if you want to edit the document, you are going to have to open it as a Google Doc, and then you'll have the ability to edit. The next icon is your trash can, so you can remove it, delete it permanently, and put it into your trash. Now remember, it's going to sit in your trash until you permanently delete it from trash. So if you accidentally remove an item, don't worry about it. You can always go into your trash and access it later and put it back where you want it or open it, unless of course you have emptied your trash. The last one is your More Actions button, and from here you can designate what you want to open it with. You can move it to a new folder. So currently it's in my Career Workshop Rewrite 2014 folder. I can move it to a new folder if I would like to. I can add a star. Remember I mentioned stars, so I have easy access to those documents and files that I want to quickly find under my starred folder. I can rename it, view details, I can make a copy, or I can download it.